Welcome to the Open Channel podcast, where we invite conscious conversation into the embodiment of unity and higher states of conscious awareness. I'm Shaunna Green.
And I'm Avalina, Maline. Welcome to this co-created space for people who want to connect and remember their core essence. We are so grateful to have you with us. Welcome.
Yay.
Welcome, good to see you guys once again.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so good to be here in these this amazing week. Actually, we were just talking about the solar flares that have been occurring, and it's I think they call it X-class solar flares, radio blackouts, Schumann resonance spikes. It's like, man, all hearts on deck, right?
Yes, and all kinds of things happening in the physical form. Just the ripple out is, I think it takes 3 days for it to really reach us here on Earth, and then another 3 days to get integrated into the physicality.
Yeah, I think it depends on the type of flare and so forth. I heard that there's different frequencies and different things happen sooner. So, but yeah, on average, I think it's 3. And then, of course, we all are, allow ourselves to integrate it at our own pace as well. So there's so many factors that go into each individual's path of how they integrate.
So how is it feeling for you? I'm so curious about each person's experience.
Well, I've been feeling incredible. I'm feeling in massive amounts of just the oversoul coming in, and the connection and the perspective, the observer, the observer perspective expanding and expanding and expanding exponentially, and it's happening so fast, and just experiencing all different things. Like, I've been having like electrical sparks in the body, almost like like I've been electrocuted really quickly. I mean, not to the point where it's painful, but it's just really fascinating and like interesting sensations and like parts of my body that I like cramping like in the bottom of my foot for a moment, like this weird, like it's just fascinating. It's like we're experiencing our bodies in a whole new way. And just the whole, like, as we're moving into this quantum existence, as the golden age is coming through, experiencing like the time shifting, like the time speeding up, slowing down. And it's funny because the more you tune into it, the more you notice it. And everyone else, other people who aren't, really aware of it, they don't notice it, and that's okay. But it's, because it's all about, holding that space for everyone else to, to go at their own pace. And, because it's really about our own knowings, our own path at this time, to be there for yourself. And, as you increase that observer path, you understand that you're able to hold space for others and allow them to walk through as they need to, even if you don't agree with it. And because it's not our place to, to agree with what others are doing or their journey or judge their journey. It's, holding space and letting them to walk through and just allow everyone to go at their own pace, and just holding that space of love. It's just feeling really grace, just this incredible amounts of grace and love. And it's just, it's so exciting to me what's happening right now. I'm just just trusting everything that's coming through, because it's such an amazing time. And I feel like it's just going to keep getting better and better and better as we go. Like, every day is just more exciting, more to look forward to. Yeah. How about you guys?
Kiara, how about you? What's it like for you? I mean, you're from distance-wise from us, you're about halfway around the world, and so I'm so curious what the experience is in physicality in your area.
Well, the experience is not so different. I think it's more like what's going on planet-wide, with solar flares, with magnetic field changes, with how our bodies are responding to incoming cosmic rays. I'm remembering a prophecy made by Peter Donoff in the 40s. And he talked about this electrical fire. It's like this fire from heaven that would be coming in at a certain point. And I think that's what's happening. So this is like a vibrational frequency. It could be a galactic origin. But whatever it is, it's breaking apart all the resistance that we've carried in a collective unconscious, and it's opening up doorways between the worlds. It's activating DNA. It's beginning to release old patterns that we've become dependent on. And it's not an easy process. So I think it depends a lot on where we are in our journey. And we're all going to go through all kinds of shifts and cycles. So, all of us are going to have times when it's easy and joyful, and times that it's going to just really rough and crazy making. And here comes a wasp.
Oh, wow.
Floating around.
Yeah.
You were writing about that in lately, right? The Peter Donoff situation.
Yes. Right. So I think this is the time that he was seeing. It's many people describe it differently. 3 days of darkness. Sri Aurobindo talks about the supramental force descending. Um, all of us are experiencing it in different ways. Some people talk about it as multidimensionality, ascension, descension, whatever. That we're experiencing something going on. Some people are experiencing it as a so-called walk-in, or could be like some kind of soul initiation, or some kind of a galactic merge. It's like people will experience it differently based on their beliefs or based on their, collective mindset. So whatever it is, it's this time now.
Yeah.
And we're all experiencing it in our own way. We're all going through the gateway.
Yeah.
It's the birth tunnel.
Yeah. Absolutely. And every birth is different, right? It's every birth is unique. And I loved how you described that in your writing. Just how this has been in the awareness of so many for so long, and we are finally now experiencing the sensations of it. So there's such a sensory difference that's been so long awaited, and I just feel we're so fortunate. What a gift to get to be here and experience it in whatever unique form is coming through. Like I could not sleep last night. I was awake. Yeah. I was awakened with this very deep knowing, like a deeper knowing than any time I've been awakened. I mean, I've been awakened in the night for spiritual reasons before, and many times. And, when I had my Kundalini Awakening and, a whole range of things, but this felt different. There was a very deep, internal felt sense of a sort of, the importance of these sensations is more than has ever been in your physicality before. It was that kind of communication. And then feeling just the instinctual conscious breath, the sacred breath, just instinctually becoming part of that. And it again almost felt like a birthing. It felt like birth was moving through the physicality, and in a way that was very electrical. There was so much energy throughout the movements. It was moving that I just felt like I was the vessel for the energy, as it was birthing through to whatever needed to happen. And just, it made me think of what you had been writing, Kiara, about how we're the conduit basically for this energy to Gaia. It just felt like this merging of all of that, this just becoming the physicality for the spirit, just really being the instrument in this birthing way.
Yeah. It's like we are the birthers, we are the midwives of the birthing, we are the new species that's being birthed, all of it together.
Yes.
We are Gaia experiencing all of this through our own self, and it's happening fractally and multidimensionally.
Yeah, we're writing our own play.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I love what you
So,
said, Shaunna, about knowing. It's a totally different experience to know what's happening than to actually
mm,
have it happening in the body. Is
Exactly.
It's like, oh yeah, but it's a completely different experience.
mm.
Completely
Yeah,
different.
So you guys have talked about Kundalini Awakenings.
yeah.
Um, so I know this is something many people are experiencing around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they may not use that same language.
Yeah.
They may not even know what's happening. They may resist it to some extent. But what do you see as the symptoms of this? And how would different people experience it? And what could you say to people to help them go through this
Yeah.
easier?
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
mean, it was a few years ago that mine happened, and I know Avalina, yours was years before that. So I think we're
Mm,
experiencing those physicality, energetic movements differently depending on when it occurs. I think just the the energy level of the planet also affects the way we experience those energies moving. The density of what's happening at the time, I think, affects things. So I don't know, when I had mine, it was very unexpected. Like you said, Kiara, some people don't even know. I was so clueless. I had no idea. I didn't know what chakras were. I didn't know what Kundalini. I mean, I had to look things up. I was sort of on WebMD, like, what's wrong with me? I
mm,
didn't know. I totally fell into it and just looked things up on the internet. There, I think for those who are unexpectedly awakening, it can be very jarring. You feel like something's wrong with you because you've never experienced things like this before. And I think it's fortunate that in these times there are more people having some of these symptoms at the same time, and perhaps there's more information circulating that helps bring things to light. I was so grateful for what others had posted about their experiences because it helped make mine more. It helped bring a bridge between my linear brain and the where I think those who are awakening are headed, which is to sort of allow a focus less on the linear brain. So I think there's a processing period that people need, and so whatever support is out there, of people's experience, like us talking about it right now, I think it's a true service to those who are having these unexpected moments. I
mm,
mean, I felt like someone had plugged me into an electrical socket, and that I literally felt like I got struck by lightning. That was, that I got zapped.
mm.
Mm.
And
Right.
it then things progressed from there, wakings in the night. I mean, it was a long period of that, not understanding muscle contractions that would happen afterward, and things that I would see and hear that weren't like anything that I had had before. So times when the entire field of my awareness would turn orange, and
Mm,
I didn't understand
mm,
why. So it sounds, the noises. I remember, Avalina, you and I having a conversation about this that sparked something in me, because I didn't know it had been, I had remembered hearing sounds like R2D2 type sounds, but until you described them as that, I
Yeah.
didn't know that was part of my Kundalini awakening. And so, just in talking to people about their experience, we are given such a gift. So, just to know that anytime the connection of beings brings forward sharing around the energetic awakening of the body and the unfolding of potential beyond what we had envisioned, is triggered, it can help people understand and embrace and make more gentle the transition through these energetic places that can be
mm,
very uh, uh, overwhelming sometimes for
mm,
those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Avalina, what do you want to
Yeah. Yeah, like
say
similar
about
to
it?
what you're saying about physically it was a very electromagnetic feeling, and mine happened through sound, through toning, and to the point where my feet would be buzzing so incredible from the energy coming in that I would have a hard time walking after I would just
mm,
tone for 10 minutes. and the sounds, coming through, and hearing things. But some of the, like there was a lot of detox happening, like the first month, like I was having a lot of detox through the skin, rash, like literally like the energy was pushing up so quickly that I would get like rashes on my shoulders. Like you could tell that everything was moving up and it was symmetrical in its nature. And then there was also a lot of nausea the first 5 weeks, to the point where I was probably vomiting like at least once a week. And it was a different type of nausea. It wasn't almost nausea in the gut. It felt closer to like the diaphragm, but it was like it felt like a magnetic pull. Like I was being magnetically pulled. So when I ate something, it wasn't sitting in the body well. It wasn't a traditional type of nausea. It was completely different sensation. And it was very uncomfortable. It was almost painful in a way. So the first month I was having a hard time eating lots of food, and meat immediately dropped away. Like I tried to eat meat, and I literally vomited, pretty quickly. So physically, that was kind of what I experienced in the initial like six weeks or so. But what I think most people will probably have more challenge with is the shift in your perspective, and when your attachments to the life that you've been living start to lose their potency. It affects all your relationships, all the relationships you have, the job you have, where you live, and you start seeing everything from a different perspective. And that can be uncomfortable, because you might discover you're in a relationship that now you just see it so clearly, and it's not working for you. So all this is happening at the same time, where you're seeing all these things that may not resonate with you in your life, in all different aspects of your life, personal relationships, what you do for a living, everything, everything that is you're seeing it from a different, wider perspective. And that can be really, really challenging. But, just holding that, just taking it slow, knowing that things are just going to fall away, and just to allow them to happen at its own pace, and not to do anything drastic, but yeah, that was, for me, it wasn't, I left and literally I went to the mountains, and I was living in the mountains for like 3 years, just meditating after that, but yeah, it's a lot changes in your reality and your relationships, for sure.
Yeah.
Kiara, do you have experience with those sensations too? Have you had
well, for me, this happened quite a while ago, and I happened to be at CIIS at that time in San Francisco, and I was doing this program in transpersonal psychology. So it was just a perfect environment to go through this. So I knew what was happening. I had lots of support, and that helped. And it took me more than a year to actually go through it. And because I knew what was happening and I could let go and not resist it, it was very blissful. It was really, like every morning I'd wake up with these currents of light and energy and love and beauty just pouring through. And very multidimensional awareness and perspectives. So it was actually a continuation of something I'd already started a long time ago. And this time what was happening is that from just being a mental experience, it was dropping into a full body experience. But because it was also mental, because I had a perspective on what's going on, what to expect, and what the evolutionary potential is, it helped me to really walk through it much easier. And I think that's, when we're talking to people who are going through similar experiences and events, some people experience it as a dark night. In fact, it's called the dark night of the soul, where everything comes up, all the emotional traumas from the past, all our mental conditioning and blocks, all of our physical blocks that we've held in the body. Um, and there's no way to put it into the old story because all those stories are dissolving. Your personal sense of identity is dissolving. Everything that you've identified with is gone. So who are you?
Yeah.
So one thing that was helping me also is I was doing these so-called Enlightenment Intensives, where for 3 days you're just asking yourself, you're working with other people, pairing up with one other person every 40 minutes. And what you're focusing on is the question, tell me who you are.
Mm.
And you're just going into deeper and deeper and deeper levels of that and dropping the mind state associated with self. Because most of the time when we ask ourselves that question, it's a mental
Yeah.
identity. And as long as we're identified with that, um, is part of the resistance. Because what we're being called to do now is to break out from that mental identity into multidimensional awareness, which includes the mental, but many different levels of the mind.
Yeah.
So when I was at CIS, I was also um, studying about different levels of the mind from the perspective of integral yoga, Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, where they talk about uh, the rational mind as a starting point, but then it expands out and you connect with the higher mind, where you're linking up with the higher perspective, the eagle's eye view. So once you start connecting with that, then you can open up and trust to the next level. Then comes the illumined mind, where you're beginning to expand your senses, your vision, your auditory senses, your touch, your hearing, all of that, and especially your sensational um, senses. So what's happening at that point is that you're becoming much more sensitive to subtle frequencies, also much more sensitive to noise. It becomes really painful,
Yes.
much more sensitive to disharmony. That also becomes very painful. And you start dropping relationships, friends, family, because your own sense of identity has changed so much. You can't even relate to yourself in the same way.
Yeah.
It's true.
You can't lie to
You,
yourself anymore either.
you can't lie to yourself, you can't lie to others,
And you're just
and
not.
you're required to trust what
Yeah.
you're going through because the story doesn't exist any longer.
Yeah. And it can be
So,
confusing in the beginning because,
yeah,
like, as you're saying, things start to fall away. And as you don't understand what, like, the sensitivity. Like, I remember, like, just having, like, if someone had the news on in the background, like the TV, we know how staged that is. And it's literally a portal of energy. But you can feel it.
Yeah.
And you become so sensitive. It's like, I couldn't even be in a room with the TV on if there was a news program on because the energy coming from it. But at the time, I didn't quite. I knew I couldn't be in the room, but I didn't understand why. It takes a while to understand your own sensitivity. It's like it's really, you have to hone your own skills of recognizing the new you, the new way of being, and it just takes time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's levels, like you're saying. It's the Kundalini Awakening literally is just the beginning, right? It's like that's like that initiation, and then it's like then the work just continues, and it's a never ever ending journey
yeah,
of
yeah.
evolution from there. Yeah.
So, in the mystical tradition of the Sufi tradition, they talk about 3 levels of this awakening. So, the first stages of Kundalini is when you're starting to let go of your personal self. So it's like you've identified as a separate entity, as a single drop of water, and you're starting to dissolve into the ocean. It requires some kind of an ego death, because the identification with the separate human identity is so prevalent. If it's not this, who am I? We identify with memory fields, and those memories take us back to the past, at least within a single incarnation. And if you're not connected with that, then who am I? Who are we? So those things start to change very quickly. Then you dissolve into the ocean, and that's what people call enlightenment. But that's not enough. Then the next thing that starts to happen is the ocean starts to enter into the drop, and that's when we actually become available to serve.
The embodiment.
The embodiment. Yeah.
And being the instrument.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which is a very physical experience, bringing all that back into the body and having that experience as a human. What a gift.
We are so fortunate to have the opportunity to be part of all of this big energy transformation in these times with these experiences. I just I hope that anyone who's going through that can have the benefit of the experiences shared like we've been sharing just now, because I know that when I was going through the first stages of that, if I had had the privilege of this conversation at the time, it would have made it so much easier. I mean, at the time I was feeling these energy balls that were sort of going up my physicality. I could literally feel them each day, like shift into a new chakra, even though I didn't know it was chakras. And just for people to have the opportunity to gain more understanding of what physically is shifting, I think will be so empowering for those who might be experiencing it now. I am curious about that experience across a wide breadth of people. I see things that feel like miracles happening, and I have to assume that the energies that move through the physicality with those miracles are shifting a lot in similar ways to what we may have experienced in our Kundalini awakenings. Like I've been witness to a whole family and marriage and a whole situation of a loved one of mine going on the rocks, complete dark night of the soul, separation, divorce kind of situation, just awful things happening in the energetic dynamic. And in a week and a half, complete ahas about how that was not, how all kinds of old patterning in that situation were not working, and the realization of what it needs to be in the future, all, kind of with the conduit of a book that was picked up at the right time with the right synchronicity. And so the energy is moving through what in that situation was not an aware, I mean, there's no conversation like we're having now for that individual and those things that are moving through, but unbelievable miracles happening, and very clearly the synchronicity bringing this healing that was not anticipated. I mean, this situation was one in which, people who have a lot of faith were thinking it's over, on the rocks, that's, unrecoverable, had therapists involved, and it's healing, just an amazing healing.
It's like this massive wave, as we're awakening, there's this huge wave and we're all riding it, and we're having, as we're talking about, the individual experience, the collective, Kundalini, you could say, or the collective awakening. And it's just, you can't not be on the wave. And that wave is getting really intense. So, yeah.
It is. Yeah. So this is Gaia's awakening. This is the time we've been awaiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think once we begin to recognize that, no matter what's going on the outside, in our personal lives, in our political arenas, economic conditions, no matter what, it may seem like the world's gone crazy out there, but it's all part of the awakening process.
Exactly.
It's just reframing it and recognizing that as the new energies come in, it's going to shake things up, spit them out to the surface. And
Yeah.
that's what we're encountering.
It's
Yeah.
the beautiful crumbling. It's
Yeah.
just, if we can celebrate the crumblings in
Yeah.
honoring what is dissolving for what is moving through to be born. I think it's hard sometimes. People get so connected to what's going away, to what's being lost, to their, in whatever form that takes, whether it's relationships like you were mentioning, Avalina, or the dissolving of identities. If we can help others hold them in a place of honor, then it isn't a place of fear. I think sometimes a lot of people who aren't understanding what's going on come from a place of fear because they don't know what's happening. And so in honoring whatever's dissolving, then there is a respect given to it, and also the ability, in some ways I find it the honoring allows it to be released more easily. There's less attaching if we can honor. Do you find that?
Yeah, I feel also just, like as you honor it, you're letting it go. You're surrendering it. You're surrendering to it and letting it go. And for me, like a big piece is, just not taking everything so seriously. Like we have a tendency to be so serious and it's so heavy and it's this big drama around it. But if we widen our lens and everything we're experiencing is just that. It's just an experience. We are eternal, and in allowing what's happening around you. If people are choosing to leave their body or whatever kind of drama that their soul is putting them through, so they can have their own path of awakening, is just to allow all that to be, and everyone's choosing. Everything that's happening for each individual is for their highest and best good. Everything.
And the good of the collective.
Yeah. So just relaxing into that and not taking it so seriously, because that just makes it it lightens the load, makes it easier.
Yeah. So guys, I have another call coming in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I'll step out and let you guys continue.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us.
We're so glad.
Until next time.
Yeah, it's so lovely to connect with you always.
Always fun. Yeah.
It is, Kiara. Thank you so much for being here. We just send so much love.
Yeah. Love to you.
Love you both, and
love you.
Until next
time.
So send me the recording so I can get to hear the rest of the conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right.
So what a gift to get to connect around these energies and the amazing times we have right now, and just to continue to hold everyone we come in contact with compassion for whatever's moving through, whether they understand it or not. It's just we're all on the ride together.
And it's challenging, especially when there's people you care about and you want them to wake up.
Yes.
But that, wanting them to wake up, it's not actually helpful.
It's an attachment. You have to recognize
you're causing your own suffering in a way, and you're projecting that onto the other person that you want to be awakening, and so it's a disservice to both of you. Super
everyone
challenging.
Have their own path. Just trust that whatever's unfolding is meant to.
Yeah. But wow, what a ride!
What a ride!
And before we got on the call, Kiara and I were speaking as you stepped out. Just witnessing all the multidimensionality of what's occurring right now, because you have your own personal journey, and then witnessing these dramatic things happening and other outside of yourself, and it's like it's all happening at the same time. I'm in complete awe of my own personal journey. I'm in, and then I'm witnessing, all these dramatic events happening elsewhere. And it's like, it's all happening at the same time. It's like, what an incredible kaleidoscope, back to one of our favorite
one
words.
of our favorite themes.
Incredible kaleidoscope of what's happening right now. Yeah. It's magnificent.
It is. And there are so many ways that the multidimensionality can be felt, as we sense into what's helping guide our path. And at the same time, also understanding that what we do is impacting all these different multidimensional layers of things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you said that.
Are that.
Yeah. Because the impact, most people don't realize how much they are impacting those around you. Exactly. Around you or wherever you are, you're broadcasting your energy no matter what, even if you're not intending to. We're literally like walking antennas.
Exactly.
So you are impacting everyone else around you without even saying anything.
And even Gaia, just to be where you are and not go anywhere and just radiate your light is impacting Gaia and all of the energetic space around you and the human collective.
Yeah.
Even if you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you think you're not near anybody, you are. All these sentient beings, all the ground and earth and atmosphere around you is still being impacted by everything you do.
Yeah. Yeah, you're always in service when you're on the path. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
Right.
Everybody's path of service is going to look different, as it should.
Yeah.
Because it all needs to cover every perspective of every facet of the diamond, right? It's everybody has their exact unique purpose.
Yeah.
And each that is essential. That one piece is essential. It's like having a missing piece of a puzzle. It's not whole if that one piece is missing.
Exactly. And so we get to be of service in ways beyond what we realize. We think, oh, I'll do something that will feel like it's in service, and then you think that people tend to think that act is something different, but all of our acts, even acts of self-care, acts of self-tending, acts of even acts that don't feel very charitable, are sometimes of service, as we later discover. So just not to underestimate what service can look like.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said, the self-service is such a huge piece of it. Yeah. Because we tend to think we're being selfish, and it's actually that was actually one of my biggest challenges, was learning how to nurture myself.
Exactly.
Because I didn't really actually get a lot of that as a child, and so that's a hard one. But you're never being selfish.
Right.
It's so important.
And as we keep feeling into the body's messages and trusting them, that's a language that we have to continue to learn and to embrace if we are truly going to be connected to as the instrument of what's moving through us. That's the way that the messaging moves through our system, is when we connect to the felt senses we feel. So
it's all about the body.
Self-care is how we start to bridge that. If we're ignoring what the body's saying to us about what we need, that's shutting off an entire realm of communication that is meant to help us do what we're here to do.
Yeah, you're exactly, it's so on point there with the body. It's all about the body right now, and getting that language, getting that communication, and learning to speak with your body, because it has so much to tell you, so much intelligence. And from a child, from as soon as we're born, we're learned to not be in tune with our body. We don't listen to our bodies. We're taught to look outside of ourselves. But yeah, it's such a incredible connection you can have with your body, because it is your partner. It is your partner. It's not this abstract thing that we've think of all the things that we've done to our bodies over our lifetime, the poisons, the toxins, how we treat ourselves.
We view it,
Yeah,
how we hold it energetically with judgment.
yeah,
Those kinds of energies are
yeah,
just,
yeah,
it is our vessel. It is our sanctuary.
yeah, yeah. It is, and it couldn't be more. Self-care couldn't be more important right now with all these solar plasma waves coming in. Eating
Absolutely.
light. For me, I've been eating really, really light, almost, not much at all. And
And
wow, it's allowing for so much more ease in the
mhm,
integration.
yes, high energy foods that draw you to them, things
Mm-hmm.
that bring you alive, literally.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We have such an attachment to food. It's just another program.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just really letting go, letting go. And, as we were talking about the Kundalini awakening, the diet absolutely shifts immediately when you have
Yep.
a Kundalini awakening. You can't help it.
Unless it's already shifted before. Like with mine, there was a lot of
Yeah,
shifting of the diet before the awakening.
yeah,
And so sometimes, it can look different, but as we continue to find the alignment of what our bodies are telling us, then those things just fall away. They can't survive those kinds of
yeah,
toxins, and in whatever form that is, whether it's our beliefs or what we put in the body or how we hold the body.
mm-hmm.
Those things can't survive.
No, no, because there's just more, there's the energy flow. There's that
Yeah.
electrical magnetic energy flow that's like that
Toroidal field.
toroidal
Yeah.
field. And it's the movement, and
Right.
it's moving things. It's moving the densities around, and dissolving them with all this light that's coming through.
Hmm.
And the lighter we become, the more sensitive we become.
And the more we're aware of anything that's heavier than what we feel.
Yeah,
And that's why it can't stay, because it
yeah,
just feels too heavy. So it drops
yeah,
away
yeah,
as we are continuing to lighten.
yeah, yeah. So everyone's awareness, whether they I can't talk today, whether they realize it or not, is becoming more sensitive. They're seeing more in their relationships, and that's part of the reason why there's so much upheaval, because it's not really an upheaval. It's really that we're just seeing more clearly.
Right.
We're seeing the densities, and so, but they were
And
always
feeling
there.
them.
Yeah, but we're the light is there on it, so it seems like all this drama, but it's just the realization of the illusion.
Right. And the feeling of what's heavy, what's too heavy to hold on to anymore. It
Yeah,
just, we're just finally realizing that we're holding barbells in whatever
yeah,
form those are. And it
yeah,
could be, our relationship with food or our body, or with
yeah.
with other relationships, or with a job, or it could
Mm-hmm.
be whatever it is. But those barbells are just feeling, we're able to see them, like you're saying, but it's
Yeah.
also the sense that if we let them go, it's going to be so much lighter.
So much easier. Yeah, we hold on to them for dear life. And that's a progression that keeps going. I mean, for years and years, it's like there's deeper, 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 and deeper levels of beliefs that we're holding, and they're in ourselves. Sometimes they're not even
Yes.
ours, right?
Right.
They're
Passed down,
ancestral. They're
ancestral.
in the DNA, and so we're all here to work through those. And so it's a you're still, like, even just yesterday, I mean, just seeing these deep, deep fundamental limiting beliefs of who we are as a human. It's just so fascinating. It's so fascinating that the deeper you go, and it becomes fun. Like, it becomes fun when you see something, or you see a limiting belief, and just allowing that to be part of the fun of it. Not seeing things as so, like, oh my God, like, this is coming up now. It's just like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Look what else I get to let go of. And it's just like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just bringing in that joy of the journey. I mean, it's just like, wow, like, it's just I'm really just in awe of everything that's happening. It's
Absolutely.
so exciting to witness people waking up, it's just inspiring. It's encouraging, just seeing what's being created right now with different people and where we're going. Yeah, I mean, it's here. It's here. It's all happening right now. This is what
It
we've been waiting
is.
for.
Yes, and the more we keep having patience with what doesn't make sense. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's coming up a lot in my journey, that things are so intense and things are moving so quickly. This is why we're here, but it can feel kind of like wow, we're really in it. I didn't expect it to be like
Yeah.
this, and
It's never how we expect it.
it's
Like,
never how we expected.
forget
And
all
so,
that, 'cause it's
right,
never going to be the case.
exactly. So just to give yourself a little extra support with how it looks and how it feels and how it's different than anything you might have predicted, which
Yeah.
would be an attachment, but we're letting go of all of that too, just to let go of any expectation
Yeah.
of what it might be, and just be in the presence of what moves
Yeah.
through in the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, because it's going to get more intense. It's exponentially
Accelerating.
accelerating, exactly. And I feel like, and I think we've touched on this before. April, it's the last day of March. So April is going to be super intense, and right around like the 2/2, right? So the 22nd of each month, I think, probably up until like the solstice, it's going to be like really, really intense. Like, we laugh because every time we get together, we're like, oh my God, the energy's like, can you believe this? And it's like,
And then it gets more.
and then it gets more and more. It's like, we're like broken records at this point, but it's hard to believe how much intensity it is happening, and at the rate that it's happening. And it's just going to get even more and more.
Yeah.
It's literally like a snowball that is just, it's getting so massive that we're going to start seeing some sparks.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
it's kind of like that part of the shell where it's the tiny little tight part at the very,
Yeah.
like we've done the big loopy thing for a long time, but we're at the very end, the
Yeah.
little tight curls, and some shells have those that go extend for quite a while. So we don't know how that shape will end up feeling or appearing, but just knowing that it feels like tight curves, that
Yeah.
were like those G forces of tight curves
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah. This is the time to let go. These next couple months, like massive Kundalini awakenings and individual. I'm just going to not talk the rest of the day after we're done here. On an individual level, and then also, just witnessing what's occurring on the macro. It's like, just surrender and just be really, really gentle with yourself, and just allow the revelations to happen, because they're coming more and more and more.
They're here.
I know. It's so exciting.
It's so exciting. We're just lucky embodied.
Yeah, and we're just
beings.
this is just the beginning. This is like, we're not even at the precipice of this mega shift yet. So it's going to be incredible. Like, we're in for such a amazing time, all of us.
Yes.
However we choose to play it out.
Yes. So what an amazing design, the blueprint.
It's genius. This universe is just incredible.
The awe.
Yeah.
The awe for the design is unparalleled.
Yeah. And here we are.
Yeah. Well,
love you so much.
I know. Love to all beings who are here as well. It's just such a privilege to get to be here together.
It sure is. So everyone, enjoy your magic carpet ride, because here we go.
Exactly.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time. Much love.
Bye.